Hey guys, it's Angie. So we are nearing the end of first quarter and yard sale season is about to kick off. And I'm continuing to get messages from resellers who are still nervous about the fact that they're going to get a 1099 this year for the very first time. So I just wanted to come and give you a few pointers of things you can do now that will make tax season next year a breeze. And trust me, it's not hard. Anyone can do this. Now, the first question everyone seems to be asking is, do I have to pay taxes on the money that I get? And the short answer is yes. Now, there are a few people that are just selling their own personal items and they're reselling them on eBay as if it was a yard sale. But I would bet if you're watching this video, that doesn't apply to you. So if you're purchasing items from thrift stores, yard sales, or anywhere else to resell on eBay, that makes you a reseller, and therefore the money that you earn is definitely taxable. The great thing is there's lots and lots of offsets to that money to help you make the amount that you owe super low. Now, as the year goes on, we'll talk more about details, but I want you to get started right now before the end of the first quarter so that you're prepared the rest of the year, especially as we move into yard sales. The first thing that I would like to tell you is even if you're running a small eBay business, the best thing that you can do is open an account that is specifically for your eBay business. Now, that does not have to be a business account. It could still be a personal account because most eBay resellers are just sole proprietorship, so it's coming through your name. But that way you can keep all of your purchases and all of your receipts in one account. It just makes it easier at the end of the year that everything in that account is a business expense, and it makes it much easier to track. If you haven't done that yet, it's okay. You could still do a little spreadsheet with all of your receipts on it, and that will work as well. So let's get into the categories. Your first category is going to be your cost of goods, your materials that you purchase to resell. Most of those are going to be super easy. You go to a thrift store, or you go to a retail store for retail arbitrage, or you buy things online. All of those are going to give you a receipt. Number one, save your receipts. You need to have all of your receipts for everything that you purchase. Super important. If you're one of these people that's not great with receipts, I recommend that you keep an envelope, a manila envelope in your car, and just shove those receipts right in there the second you get them, and then once a month bring them in and put them on a spreadsheet. Now, with yard sales starting, you're not going to have a receipt for everything because when you go to a yard sale, you're typically paying cash. Now, the IRS would prefer that you had a receipt book and you had every single yard sale sign their name and address and what you bought and sign a receipt. That's just not typically feasible, and that's okay. The IRS just wants to know that you're making a continuous effort to keep track of everything that you purchase. So I highly recommend you go and invest $2 and buy a spiral notebook. And in this notebook, you're going to write the date that you go yard sailing, an idea of what you purchased, so 4 shirts, 5 clothing, an Xbox, 4 games, and what you paid for those items. That way at the end of each day, you can do a total for how much you've spent for that day, and you can easily log all of those materials into a spreadsheet which shows an expense. Remember, everything that you have a receipt for comes off the top and you don't owe taxes on that. Pretty important. I would say the next most important thing that you need to be doing right now is keeping track of your mileage. Now, you can use one of these neat apps that they have on your phone that will track everywhere you go, and then you say whether that was business or not. Or you can do the trusty notebook again and just have another notebook for mileage. Just put your start and ending mileage whenever you go for any kind of errand for your business, and every mile that you drive for your business, and that means leaving your house and coming home, all of those miles will get you a deduction. Now, what if you go out to yard sales but you don't find anything, or you go to thrift stores and it's a dud? Well, those miles are still deductible even though you didn't find anything. So make sure you're keeping track even on days that you're just not doing too well. If you go to Walmart because you need to pick up supplies, or you go to the post office, all of those are miles as well that you can deduct. So make sure you're keeping track of every single time you leave the house. Now, something we use a lot of are office supplies. Now, an office supply to me is anything that you can consume. Poly mailers, tape, printer ink, labels, boxes, anything that you use up, even a pen. Pens aren't going to last forever. Printer paper, all of those kinds of things, those are consumable items. Even the poly bags or the plastic bags that you use, all of those are consumables. And don't forget bubble wrap, because we use a whole lot of that. Also a consumable. All of those are going to be listed as office supplies. So make sure that you keep a receipt of all of those. Now, when you purchase items online, it's really convenient because at the end of the year, Amazon, eBay, Best Buy, even American Bubble Boy keeps track of all of your receipts. But I still recommend that as soon as you purchase something, you go ahead and print out the receipt so it shows the total amount that you spent, and put it in a folder marked for office supplies. That way at the end of the year, all of your office supplies are in one file. Now, the next category is going to be a little bit different. It's equipment. Equipment is going to be anything that you don't consume. So if you buy a new computer or a new printer, you buy a Logitech camera for YouTube or a ring light, or you buy a Rollo printer, all of those things are going to be equipment that you use, and all of those are also 100% deductible as long as you're using them for business. So if you upgrade your phone, don't forget that you can actually claim your phone as a business deduction. Are you looking up items when you go to yard sales? Yeah, so that is absolutely something you use for your business, and it's a deduction. Another thing that you need to keep track of are all of your utility bills for your house. An eBay business is one where you're working out of a home office. So if you have a home office and dedicated space for your inventory, you're going to be able to have a home office deduction. And what that means is the portion of your home that is used for your office, you can actually deduct all of the bills for that portion or that percentage and take it as a deduction off of the amount you owe on taxes. So keep track of your utilities, your water, your sewer, your electric and heat, your mortgage or rent payments, even your garbage. All of those things can be deducted, or at least a percentage of those, towards your home office. So if you keep those throughout the year, it'll be much easier when it comes to tax time. The other thing that you can deduct is both internet and cell phone service. A good rule of thumb is you can deduct 50% of those bills, both the phone and the internet, if you're using them for both business and personal. I've never had a problem deducting 50%, so that is a safe way to go. But you also need to keep track of those bills, so keep a record of those throughout the year so you have those for your paperwork. Another thing people might not think about throughout the year are dues and subscriptions. You know, you might think you don't have any of those because you are an online business, but you very well might. If you use GoDaddy or Quicken or QuickBooks, if you do Canva or use any cross-listing software, or if you have a film editing service like I do that's Filmora, all of those items are dues and subscriptions. So when those renew, make sure that you keep a receipt of those so that you can deduct those from your taxes. Another item that a lot of resellers miss is advertising. Now, we don't have a lot of advertising, but if you make business cards or thank you notes, even if you buy individual thank you notes that you fill out, those are all items that are considered advertising. Your name is on that business card and therefore you're advertising your business. So make sure you keep a copy of all of those receipts as well. Some people will actually have some kind of training for eBay. If you decide to enroll in an online course, I know Rally Roots and some other people have online courses that they offer, or a membership to a Facebook group that helps with your reselling business, those are actually deducted under training. So make sure you keep copies of your receipts, even if it's PayPal, those can be deducted as training. One category a lot of people would love to deduct are meals. Unfortunately, meals is not so cut and dry. If you're out running around to yard sales and you stop through the drive-thru at a fast food restaurant, you can't deduct that. That's not a deduction. But if you have a luncheon with another reseller and you're discussing a YouTube channel or a collaboration or something along those lines, and you're discussing business during that time, 50% of that meal can be deducted. Not 100%, only 50%. So make sure you keep those receipts, but on that receipt you're going to say who you were with and what you discussed, because the IRS is really funny about meals now. You can't just do it as a convenience that you're driving through. They figure you gotta eat anyways, so it's not a business expense because you had lunch. You actually have to be doing business and discussing business during that luncheon in order for it to count. And the final item is donations. If you decide to redonate old inventory, make sure you take pictures of that inventory and you keep a detailed list of what you donated, because the value of all of those items absolutely can be deducted off of your taxes. So when you do go to drop off, make sure you don't just drop off at night. Go in and ask for a receipt, make sure that they give it to you, and fill it out. Make sure the form says how many boxes, approximately how much of it is clothing or hard goods or electronics, things like that, and then give it a fair market value, like a yard sale value. That is how much everything is worth, and that way you can deduct those as well. I know if this is your first time having to deal with the taxes, it can feel super intimidating, but really if you just are careful and start keeping track of your receipts and make sure you have a notebook with you in your car so that you can keep track of the things you pay cash for and your mileage, you're going to do just fine. I'll do updates to this so we can talk about how to get everything together at the end of the year so that you're ready. But if you follow these few simple steps now, you're gonna breeze through tax season, and it's not gonna be as bad as you think. If you're selling under $20,000 a year, the taxes are not gonna be nearly as bad as you think. It just looks like an intimidating number from the beginning, but we'll get you through it. All right, well, I hope this information was helpful for you, and it will make your transition throughout the year for your taxes much smoother and easier. In the meantime, if you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm always available to answer questions. And if you liked my content, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, I would love for you to subscribe and join my little YouTube family. And thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.